Hello, this is Craig. We're at Goodson Guitars here in Odessa, Texas, and we're going to be doing a series of videos on building an acoustic instrument. The one I'm going to be working on is actually a Bajo Quinto, but all these processes and things that I'm going to do are going to work for standard acoustic guitar. So some of it has already been done. I was kind of on the fence on whether or not I was going to make this video, and then I decided to do it. And you know, I got several that I'm working on, so all the processes I can do, it's just probably going to be different guitars you see as I go through. One of the first things that I do is get my materials, and then I glue them all up and get basically everything blocked out. And then I go through and thickness sand and get everything prepped and ready for start bracing and bending. So what we're going to start off with is this right here is the back of a guitar that I'm working on. This is zircote. It's got a nice tone to it. It's beautiful wood. This has been thickness sanded to 220 grit on both sides, and it's to the thickness that I like my backs to be. And then I've gone in and put in the spruce bracing and then I put in the back seam. The back seam on this one is actually flame maple. It's for an aesthetic purpose, has nothing to do with structural. You could use strips of mahogany, any lightweight wood that you've got laying around. I did this, you know, for a specific reason. It's how I want it to look on the inside, which, you know, some people it's like, well, you can't see it. Well, parts of it you can, and the parts that you can't see, I want them to look cool. So we did that, and then we got the spruce. The next step on this is to get these shaped, and once they're shaped, it'll be ready to go on. Then my next process is bending the side. So I'm going to get set up for that, and then we'll come back and we'll bend the side. I think the side we're going to bend is going to be mesquite, because I've already bent the sides for this one and it's in the mold, but we'll come back to that one when we get back to where we are on there. So if you're excited about this one, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button, and smash the bell so you know when I put one of these out. I'll try to do one once a week, depending on how much work I get done. Some of them may be longer videos, some of them may be shorter, but I do appreciate y'all watching. I'm up to like 110 subscribers. That's cool. I really appreciate that, and I would really like more questions and comments. You know, we all learn better when we talk about things, so, you know, if y'all got anything you want to say, make any good comments, bad comments, doesn't bother me, go ahead and throw them up down there in the comment section, and let's get started on this. Alright, so we have our side thickness, and now we need to get it dimensioned, and this is a template that I use for that. So first thing I'm going to do is line up the template. This is the top of the guitar, this is the bottom of the guitar, and so we're going to mark this out, and so now we know where we need to cut off. And what it is the back, I don't know if y'all can see that because it's new camera. This is where it slopes up towards the neck, but it's also where the bend comes around, because this is, like I said, this is the top and this is the bottom, and the bottom's got a more pronounced radius in the back, and so you have to compensate for that here. So let me get this cut out on the bandsaw, and then we'll get ready to put it in the bender. In preparation for the bend in the bender, I had to do a couple of things. First one is I put the side in paper, because these aren't stainless steel and it'll stain your wood. And so the bottom spring steel has a mark on it, so I can get it lined up so the bend's in the right place. Put a little water on here. This is to prevent it from burning. The heat's going to do all of the bending. The water is not really necessary for the bend. And then the next part of the sandwich, as I call it, is the heating blanket. This gets up to 400 plus degrees. And then the next part is the top And I've made a modification to my bender on the bender video, and I'll kind of go over it, and it'll be real obvious why I did it when I start. And then I use these bulldog clips just to kind of hold everything in place until I get it inside the bender. And so now we're gonna move over there and transition to that. So let me change the camera angle. All right, so now that we got everything ready, we're going to slide this all in here until I get the center line. Each piece of this has a center line on it, and then I'm going to put just a little bit of tension, kind of hold things in place. Alright, and then I'm going to plug in the heating blanket. That's going to start getting hot almost instantly. I'm going to move this one off so I can check the temperature. Now, the modification I made is this top band. And because if you watch the video on the other one, it was the springs that I pulled around, but it was humping right here, and I wasn't getting a good bend. So I went with this and the locks. And it pulls it down real tight. The other thing that we're also going to do in the next few days is we're going to put some electronics in here. I've got a probe sensor that would go in. This is the sensor. It would go in right here, and it'll tell the controller what the temperature is and tell it when to stop heating, when to cool down, and it'll also tell me what the actual temperature is of the blanket and control the blanket. It'll keep me from having to do this and burning my fingers. We're at 226 degrees. When we hit about 250, I'll start to bend. Right now I can put a little bit more pressure on the center. Pull that out. Get some gloves because it's going to be about 250 to 300 degrees. You couldn't hear that. 250 to 300 is what I'm looking for. Different woods require different temperatures. I want to say the zircote, I bent that at like 350. So, stalling out because I didn't have the dial turned up. Now we're at 235, coming up, 238, 42. Alright. So, what I do now is I just crank this down slowly. Let that heat build up, and then bottom it out, which it's bottomed out now. It's getting wobbly. I'm going to throw a clamp on here real quick on my head. And you can see the weight of this is already starting to pull that side down. So, I don't want this thing turning over on me. Alright, so now what we're going to do is slowly pull this around gently. Sometimes I hear that paper creak on and I think, oh, really? I just broke it. And then I'll put that on. I'll do the same thing here. Slowly pull it around. I don't know if y'all can see it, there's actually smoke coming off of that right now. Probably steam. Put that there and let it pull. And then this one, go ahead and flatten it out. Alright. So everything's pressured, and you can see now with this clamp, the way I did it, it's pulling this down, and it's a good solid bend. So I'm going to check All right, we're good. So I'm gonna leave that for about 10-15 minutes. We'll turn it down to probably around 150, and then we'll let it cool back down to room temperature. So y'all don't go away, because for y'all it's gonna be immediate. For me, it's gonna be about 45 minutes. All right. Okay, so we're back to room temperature. So we're gonna release the clamps and see what we got here. So we had some spring back in the side, but it's not bad. I mean, it still comes back around. So what we would do at this point is we would bend the other side. The thing you want to remember is this is the top of the guitar. So this top was facing this direction. So when you sit the next one in, you want to make sure the top is facing the other side of the mold, so you get two opposite sides instead of two of the same. So then this would pop into the mold, and then we'll transition, get this stuff out of the way, and then I'll show you where we go from there. So we would take the side at this point, and it would go into the mold, and then we would make the other side. It would go into the mold and trim them up, get them cut to shape and proper length, and then we would take the neck block and the tail block, find their center point, get them glued in using tight bond. That's what I use on them. And once they're glued in, I clamp them while they're in the mold, and using a combination of these type clamps, cam clamps, whatever you can do to get clamping pressure evenly all the way through. The one thing I want to stress is you need to put paper or wax paper in between your mold and your body. That way you don't glue your guitar to your mold. That's bad. I speak from experience. And the same thing here, you can still see the papers there, but all of this, when I get everything attached, it's going to sand off just fine, so it'll be good. So we have those glued in, and then the next step would be to put your kerfing in. The kerfing is this material here. I buy this pre-made. Some guys make it. It just depends on how you feel about it, on what you want to do. This does two things in my opinion. One, it strengthens the side and gets it to hold its shape a little bit better, and it also gives you more gluing surface when you go to glue on the back and the top. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to put in the side braces. Now what side bracing is again, it's a structural thing. It helps the guitar be straight and flat on the sides. It also prevents cracking. If this instrument was dropped and it landed on this edge right here or this one here, anywhere, there's a chance that you could develop a crack, and that crack would run all the way down. And I've had repairs that it's gone all the way up to the neck block. The entire side is cracked. And I've got some videos on my channel about doing those repairs, and I talk about braces. So this bracing that I'm using on this is it's been beveled and angled. It's not square stock, and we're gonna do another thing to it here, but I'm probably gonna put one here, there, and there, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what we're fixing to do is we'll do one side and show you the process I'm going to use for these. They can be done with just about any type of material. This is a scrap piece of mahogany that came off a back or a side, so you could cut this to length and glue it in, you know, like this right here, or you know, it can be just about anything, but I'm going for kind of a unique look inside this guitar for the places that you can see it. So again, this is flame maple. It's going to match the spine, and it's going to go in like so, and then we're going to do some cuts in here to kind of give it a unique shape. So the first thing I got to do is get them cut to length, and so we're going to do that now. And I do a lot of it by eye and keep shaving off little bits and pieces until I get it exactly where I want it. And when I put the kerfing in, I start from the same point every time. So this is one whole piece. We'll look down here. This right here, it starts, and this is one whole piece, and then this is one whole piece. And so I'm going to use the marks inside here to make sure these are on the same side, left and right. And so the first one, we're going to put it right here, and then I will make a mark, and then I'm going to transition over to I'll clamp it to the bench. Normally I just take it over to the bandsaw and just slice it off, but I don't want to move the camera that much, so we'll take a small pull saw and we'll cut it. And I'm going to show y'all one, and then I'll do the rest of them, and then we'll come back when I get one side done. So now what I want to do is check for fit, and I want it to fit snugly in between, and it's still a little big, so I'm going to take it over to the sander and kind of sand it down until it fits in there real tight. Alright, so I made a little pencil mark right here where I want it to be, and it's still a little snug. So we're gonna go back over and get a little bit more off of there. I'll be right back. Alright, that's what I'm looking for right there. It's a nice snug fit, no slop. Alright, so now we're going to do our scallop. Alright, so what we're going to do now is get the mark that I want. And I want it to be the same. It's hard to describe what I'm going to do. I'm going to curve this up to about right there. And I want it to come up flush with the side. So we're going to basically cut out a section like so. It's going to be like a half moon, quarter moon shape. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but you'll get the idea here in a second. So I'm going to go cut this out on the bandsaw, and then we'll clean it up with the spindle sander, and then I'll show you what it's going to look like. Alright, so hold it in front of my, there we go, you can kind of see, and this camera is not focusing for nothing. So away we go. We're moving. Don't spill your beer. We're moving. Alright. And so I'm going to hold this level. That way I can get that curve in. now we got our piece, and we're gonna go glue it in. Alright, so we're going to take some 220 grit real quick, clean off the marks that we put on there with the pencil. And then I'm going to clamp it to the bench, and I'm going to use a razor blade as a scraper to get the marks where the sander left marks on it. And yeah, I got one right here. Alright, so we're going to turn this like so, that way y'all can kind of see what I'm doing, and I'll do it over here on this side, but I gotta count, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, so we're gonna put it right there. And that mark I just put on there is going to get sanded off in another process. And since I changed sides, I'm going to check it to make sure it fits. And it is a little bit long, so we're going to have to take that off real quick. So I'll be right back. Alright, so that popped in there and it's staying without any glue, so that's a good fit. And it's square. So now we're gonna glue it in. Now how I glue these in is I've got these big spring clamps, and we're gonna go over the top like so. So we're gonna put a little bit of glue. And then glue it in place. I need to fill my glue jug up. Now doing it this way is it pulls the side tight up against the mold, and then it pulls the side brace in tight, so it keeps everything nice and straight. And so when I go to sand this and put a finish on it, I get a nice reflection that's good and flat. And so I have, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more to go. So I'm gonna do those, and when I get done we'll come back and take a look at it. Okay, so we got them done, and as you're probably fixing to notice, I have forgotten to shoot the closer for this video and had already started with the other, and so I'm going to turn the camera around. But we got the side braces in. They look really good. I like the way they look, and we've obviously already started doing the bevel to put the back on. I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm trying to get all this stuff down and learn how to do this to make these videos better. When my buddy Jose is over here working with me, he runs the camera, and those videos are usually a lot more fun because they feel real. When I'm doing these, I got to stop what I'm doing and move the camera around, and it just kind of kills it. So I appreciate y'all watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button and throw me some comments up down there. I'm going to turn the camera back around, give you a couple more shots of these side braces, and then get this thing edited and put up. Thank you.